Good morning. Today we're going to learn about an astronaut named Mae Jemison, amazing woman. Um, Yesterday we heard about the first astronauts that walked on the moon. Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin must have felt scared and excited. People here on Earth were scared and excited um, to watch them. And Armstrong's words, that's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind, are still sort of true today. People are making small steps, but it advances our knowledge of our Earth, our solar system, our galaxy and universe beyond what we can hardly even imagine. New things every day, giant leaps every day. So, all astronauts in the United States train at NASA, which is the National Aeronautics and Space Administration. And NASA is the organization that started to lead the scientific research and exploration of outer space. It was NASA that coordinated Apollo 11, a trip to the moon, and other manned flights into space, and many voyages of spacecraft that have taken pictures of distant planets in our solar system. NASA was formed in 1958, and since then it continues to change the way we think about the universe. Um, NASA is under the umbrella of the United States government, but there are now other companies that are private companies that are also beginning space exploration. You think of SpaceX, it's a new type of company that is not funded through the government necessarily, it's funded privately by very wealthy people who want to do that kind of thing. It's fabulous. So, what kinds of things do you think scientists and other workers at NASA might do to help astronauts and spacecraft triumph in their missions? There are many kinds of engineers, people that then have to, biologists take care of the astronauts' bodies themselves, provide for their physical needs. Um, all sorts of people that work at NASA. Today we're going to be learning about Mae Jemison. She's a famous astronaut that traveled into space. Listen for how she got the opportunity to do that, how hard she had to work, and what she did after being an astronaut. We have taken an imaginary adventure into space in our special classroom spaceship, but how would you like to really travel in space? Would you do it if you had the opportunity? When Copernicus was born in the 1400s, space travel was an impossible dream. Copernicus didn't even have a telescope, let alone a spacecraft. But thanks to careful observations, logical thinking, and bold ideas of Copernicus and many other scientists before and after him, today we live in an amazing time when dreams of space travel really can come true. Advancements or improvements in technology have made it possible for human beings to travel into space. Ever since Apollo 11 first landed on the moon in 1969, more and more astronauts have flown into space. Would you like to be one of them? Mae Jemison wanted to be one of them. She dreamed about going into space from the time she was a little girl. And when she grew up, that's exactly what she did. In 1992, Mae Jemison blasted into space aboard the Space Shuttle Endeavour. She lived on the Endeavour for 8 days and conducted or carried out many experiments while she was there. In these experiments, she carefully collected information about how weightlessness in space affects animals and humans. One of the experiments involved frog eggs. Jameson wanted to see if they would develop into tadpoles normally while in orbit. Mae Jemison was the first African American woman ever to go into space. In fact, she was the first African American female astronaut in the history of NASA. So, How did Mae Jemison make her childhood dreams of space travel come true? We all have dreams of things that we would like to do, and you have to have a plan on how to make those dreams come true. Part of the answer is that when she was young, she read a lot about the things she was interested in. Jamison was born in 1956 in Decatur, Alabama, but she grew up in Chicago, Illinois. As a child, Jamison was very interested in space. She was 12 years old when astronaut Neil Armstrong and his Apollo 11 mission landed on the moon. At age 14, Jemison was still interested in space, so she read many adult books about astronomy. At the age of only 16, she graduated from high school and went to college at Stanford University in Stanford, California. Education was very important to Mae Jemison. Education is also very important to NASA in choosing who will become an astronaut. While Jemison was at Stanford University, she studied chemical engineering, which is the study of chemicals or substances and how they can be used to solve problems or make things. While she was at college, Jemison also enjoyed theater, dancing, and playing football with her friends. She believed it was important to be a well rounded person, which means to study and enjoy many different things. Jemison graduated from college with a degree in chemical engineering and African American studies. Besides wanting to be an astronaut, Mae Jemison also wanted to be a biomedical engineer. An engineer is a person who uses the knowledge and tools of engineering to solve problems. And a biomedical engineer seeks new ways to use technology to improve healthcare for people. When Jemison graduated from college, she thought about applying right away to NASA to become an astronaut, but decided to go to medical school first. In medical school, she traveled around the world providing medical care to people living in developing countries. As a medical school student, Jemison traveled to Kenya in Africa, where she helped the community with community medicine projects in a very difficult area. She also traveled to Thailand in Asia to care for refugees from Cambodia. After Jemison graduated from medical school, she worked for the Peace Corps for more than 2 years. The Peace Corps is a U.S. governmental organization that sends volunteers to assist people in developing countries. In the Peace Corps, Jemison was responsible for the health of Peace Corps volunteers working in West Africa. In 1985, Mae Jemison decided the time was right to pursue her dream of space travel. She applied to NASA to become an astronaut. But soon afterwards, in January of 1986, NASA suffered a terrible tragedy in its space shuttle program. The Space Shuttle Challenger burst into flames a little over 1 minute after it was launched. After that tragedy, all astronaut applications, including Jemison's, were postponed, meaning that NASA was not accepting any applications for new astronauts for a time. After NASA reopened the astronaut application program, Jemison found out that she was chosen to be an astronaut in 1987. In 1992, after completing her space shuttle mission aboard the Endeavour, Jemison was famous. She was the first African American woman to go into space. She retired from NASA in 1993 to pursue some of her other dreams. Jemison had used her fame as a launch pad to bring important issues to the public spotlight. She founded an international science camp called The Earth We Share. Students at the international camp work to help solve current global problems by using space and technology. She also started her own company, which seeks to develop technologies that benefit planet Earth and the people who live on it. But most of all, Jemison is a great example of how important it is to follow your many dreams. Mae Jemison is living proof that your dreams can literally take you out of this world. She is just one of many astronomers who have added to our knowledge and understanding of space and the universe. For thousands of years, humans have been curious about the celestial bodies and what lies beyond the Earth. Even now, there are man made satellites, spacecraft, and even scientists in space performing experiments, gathering information, and taking pictures. So, as we come to our space journey end, there is still one question. What's next? As we learn more about our world, there could be thrilling discoveries waiting right around the corner. Will you be the next great scientist to contribute to the work of other scientists who have come before you? Will you become an astronaut and set foot on another planet or moon? Will you discover a new celestial body, a new galaxy, or a new way of thinking about our world? What's next? Hey, boys and girls, when you do that, call me. I want to hear all about it. So, why is Mae Jemison famous? Well, she's famous because she pursued her dreams, ended up in space as an astronaut, conducting many experiments, and completed more of her dreams after that. So, what was Jemison's mission as an astronaut? Well, she traveled into space and lived on the Space Shuttle Endeavour for 8 days. She conducted many experiments about how weightlessness affects plants and animals. What are some of the achievements that Jemison had before becoming an astronaut? She graduated from high school early. She became a doctor. She was an engineer. She joined the Peace Corps. She helped refugees. Many, many things. NASA considers many applications for the astronaut program. What kinds of characteristics and skills do you think made Jemison a good candidate for NASA? She had determination, didn't she, from a very early age. Strong academically. She had a love of reading and science. She was a doctor and an engineer. She had many degrees. Why did NASA stop taking applications for new astronauts for a period of time? Just about the time that Jemison was interested in joining NASA. Well, there had been a tragedy at NASA. The Space Shuttle Challenger had blown up and astronauts had died, and they stopped for a while taking applications. What kind of international work did Jemison do to help people around the world? Well, she worked with a community medicine project in Kenya. She helped care for Cambodian refugees in Thailand. She was responsible for the health care of Peace Corps volunteers in West Africa. She founded an international science space camp to help students learn to solve global problems, and she started a company to develop technologies to help planet Earth and the people who live on it. So, can you compare and contrast the lives of Nicholas Copernicus and Mae Jemison? How would they be similar? How are they different? Well, Copernicus was a man and Jemison was a woman. Copernicus lived a long time ago, and Jemison was born in the mid 1900s, and she's still living. Copernicus had little use of technology. He had to use just his own physical body to make observations. And Jemison had the help of NASA and all of its technology behind her to conduct her observations. Copernicus studied in Europe, and Jemison traveled all over the world and even into space. Wonderful.